Okay, guys, one more, and that'll be it. Let's do teen convicts reaction to life sentences in the prison.
Work goes smoothly when you know the right steps. With Asana, you can coordinate tasks efficiently and stay on
What are
track.
you doing,
So
baby?
your team can spend more time celebrating wins. Try it for free
Jezebel.
at asana.com.
Both confessed to the murder of Daniel Alseth, who was 45 years old. Daniel was discovered in the garage of his house in the northwest part of Las Vegas. 4 days later, on April 14th, the adolescents were taken into custody in Salt Lake City. 555 days for time served. That is a total aggregate sentence of life in the Department of Corrections of possibility for 22 years. Both Sierra and Guerrero were found guilty by District Judge Tierra Jones and received the maximum penalty of life in prison, with the possibility of release after 22 years. On count one, you're going to be sentenced to 48 to 120 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. On count two, you're going to be sentenced to life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 20 years has been served, plus a consecutive 24 to 60 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections for deadly weapon enhancement. In addition, the court ordered the offenders to pay
Wow.
restitution of $5,000.
Ask for forgiveness later as I get sentenced. Today, I hope I see a little peace.
The two defendants entered guilty pleas to all of the charges against them, which included murder with a deadly weapon, arson, robbery with a deadly weapon, conspiracy to conduct robbery, and 4 counts of fraudulent use of credit or debit cards. My only question is, while Anne seems to be breaking down, why does Sierra seem bored? Maybe even a little tired. Maybe there's more to her person than meets the eye. One thing's for sure, she's not laughing now. On October 22nd, 2013, Philip Chisholm, who was in the 9th grade at the time, committed an unthinkable act.
The killer knew exactly what he was doing and has never shown remorse. The hate behind his killer and will never forgive him.
On that particular day in 2013, Chisholm had been asked to stay after school by the supposedly positive Colleen Ritzer, who was well known for going above and beyond to assist her students. However, today, she had no idea that the hourglass that represented her life was about to run out. Chisholm followed Ritzer into a restroom, murdered her, robbed her, assaulted her, and abused her. He then stuffed her corpse into a garbage bin before dragging it behind the school. Chisholm then went into town and used Ritzer's credit card to buy a ticket to a movie. The police found Philip the next morning, and to their surprise, he still had Colleen's blood on his hands. All that work to cover it up. The garbage can, the mask, and you didn't even wash your hands.
Put this animal behind bars for the maximum possible sentence. Do not give this coward the opportunity to shatter another family's lives.
Colleen Ritzer's murder, aggravated rape, and armed robbery were all charged against Philip
If you
Chisholm.
do that, you know you get
He was tried
your
as an
ass in
adult
trouble.
on February 2016. He was given a sentence that required him to spend the minimum of 40 years behind bars.
This report will impose the mandatory life sentence for the murder of Colleen Ritzer and set a parole eligibility date of 25 years, the highest level of law allowed.
Chisholm will be 54 when he gets his first chance at freedom. Cuffed and led out in front of Colleen's family in her favorite color, pink.
A touching tribute that didn't seem to face this teenage murderer who showed little to no remorse for this horrific crime. In the state of Wisconsin, Antonio Barbal and Nathan Pape were found guilty of the gruesome murder of an elderly woman.
He was just 13 years old last September when Antonio Barbeau and his friend Nathan Pop went to Barbeau's great-grandmother's house. The two bludgeoned 76-year-old Barbara Olson to death using a hammer and an axe. Then they stole her purse.
Documents filed in the case state that Antonio and Nathan conspired to rob Antonio's great-grandmother. In the end, they used that part of the money that they stole towards the purchase of marijuana as well as pizza. The subsequent events, which saw the old lady being beaten, then attacked with a hatchet on many occasions, were like something out of a horror movie. However, Barbeau changed his plea from not guilty of mental sickness or defect to no contest after reaching an agreement with the prosecution.
I know I don't show my emotions much. I myself am not sure why. But that doesn't mean I don't. I took away someone's mother, your grandma, sister, friend, when I had no right to do so.
But it didn't go to plan, as the court gave him the worst possible penalty.
10-year-old, can you imagine? Our statutes are stated like 10-year-old facing life in prison.
It gives me instant lift and volume. Just look at that transformation.
How about bundling your home and auto insurance with NJM?
I'd save a ton of money, but it would really hurt my ego.
I don't understand. They aren't adults, they're children.
Barbeau was found guilty and given a sentence of life in prison. In addition, the court decided that 14-year-old Nathan Pape should spend the rest of his life behind bars as well.
I just want to say that I'm truly sorry for everything that happened. I truly regret every single thing that happened.
So, what do you think? These children committed heinous acts on an unsuspecting elderly woman. Their crime definitely deserved a severe sentence. However, would rehabilitation be a more appropriate punishment? Or did the judge get this one spot on? A judge sentenced the youngest triggerman to 2 consecutive life terms in prison, nearly 3 years after he and his friends terrorized Osceola County with random shootings that resulted in the deaths of 2 innocent bystanders. Conrad Schaefer, who is now 18 years old, offered his condolences to the families of the victims.
Y'all never forget me, especially I don't know if I was in position, I feel the same way.
Prior to the start of the shootings, Schaefer was successful in persuading his father to purchase a .45 caliber high-point carbine, as well as 100 rounds of ammo. He then allegedly waited until his father went back to bed, snuck the gun out of the house, and that's how the neighborhood horror story began.
I was my grandson. He was my helper, me and my wife. At this time, my family and I had no intention to forgive the guilty because of such a heinous and brutal crime that was done to my grandson, Eric Cooper.
Additionally, inside the courtroom, Schaefer pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with the outbreak of violence that kept neighbors on edge for over 2 weeks as gunfire penetrated their homes and vehicles over 22 times.
Now, 15 years old. I mean, that's the thing that's hard to wrap your head around. Is this was a 15-year-old who was out, with a semi-automatic rifle shooting up Osceola County.
Following the conclusion of the hearing, the judge said that Schaefer would be facing the death sentence if he were 3 years older than he is now.
I was 15 at the time. We shot 15. I don't know if they're wrong. I know my apology don't mean nothing to it. I know it can change how you feel about it.
Though it probably won't change how the families feel. But given his age at the time of the crime and his signs of remorse, perhaps there is hope for this young man yet. What do you think?
Matthew Borges on indictment number 2017-115. Jury having returned a verdict of guilty on the charge of murder in the first degree.
The jury has reached a decision in the prosecution of Matthew Borges, 18, who is accused of beheading Lee Valoria Paulino in December 2016. It's alleged that he murdered Lee, a fellow student at Lawrence High School, while both of them were studying there. Borges informed the police that he and Paulino smoked marijuana together in November 2016, which was the last time he was seen alive. A dog walker on the banks of Merrimack River found Lee's body 2 weeks later, and the details were grim.
As I approached, I got closer, saw her really sniffing at a particular area. So I pulled her back, and when I looked, I kind of second-guessed myself. I thought I saw a dead body, but I wasn't too sure. Because, it was missing some limbs.
Borges was not considered a suspect at first, but suddenly everything shifted in that direction. Prosecutor Jay Gabito said in his closing arguments that there was a mountain of evidence pointing to Borges' guilt. Prosecutor Jay Gabitos said in his closing arguments that there was a mountain of evidence pointing to Borges' guilt.
Is the defendant guilty or not guilty? And if guilty, guilty of what and on what theory?
According to the investigators, Borges allegedly stabbed the 16-year-old victim many times before cutting his head off so that the corpse would not be identified.
If the defendant, Matthew Borges, is guilty on the charge of first-degree murder on the theories of deliberate premeditation and extreme atrocity and cruelty.
As he received his sentence, we see Borges showing no emotion, no signs of feeling, his expression seemingly void. He received a sentence to spend the rest of his life in jail, with the possibility of parole only an option after 30 years.
Okay guys, that's all I want to do for today, so I will see you tomorrow, so keep walking along and bye.